I have the battery tray in reverse, and it actually sits on top of the transmission. What I did is I put double-sided tape on the bottom of this as a cushion, but only pulled the tape off on one side. And then I put stainless steel screws into the back of the battery mount, and it seems, even though it moves slightly, it sits there nicely, so that's a workaround for that. This here is my off-on switch for my light bar, and underneath, if you look right here, this is the module that I strapped in upside down and then I ballooned it. It's for my winch to make it work with the key remote. I went for the big bore June Falk piggyback shocks on it because I found the scale ones that are supposed to go with this vehicle, it just couldn't support the weight that I was putting it under. So what makes this one unique is fluid actually fills in here and fluid fills in here, and as the piston goes up and down the shaft, as this goes up and down, it pushes the fluid in, pulls the fluid out. You can aerate any air that's in it through this bleeder here, and what makes it unique is there's a screw on the bottom here that you can adjust to either have less dampening effect on the shock travel when it tries to bottom out. So when you screw it in, you can make it stiffer. When you screw it out, it makes it softer. So it's actually adjustable, quite nice. I put spacers on the back here to keep it off away from the frame because it wanted to touch, and I stuck incision shock hoops on it, and I got these from Vanquish because I wanted zero flex in the frame. When I initially started this build, I was going to go with my Mickey Thompsons here. I got Mickey Thompson aluminum rims and authentic 1.9 Mickey Thompson tires. And these are the stickiest tires I have ever come across, ever. These tires are awesome. The only problem is, these tires, when it was installed on this vehicle, I have the Curry Rock axles in the front and in the back. They are different from stock in that the steering knuckle on the end was actually hitting the back of this tire physically. It was pushing against the tire, and the tire had lots of friction, so consequently I wasn't able to use the 1.9 inch tires I was hoping for. That was one of my first snags from deterring it from being a scale vehicle. So I put them on my this is my strict rock crawling SEX 10, and these tires are superb on the rocks. Okay, now we're on to the topic of the tires and rims. The Mickey Thompson tires and rims that I bought for the initial build of this vehicle were fairly pricey, and I really didn't have enough money. I wanted to get the build finished, and I was running out of money out of my little kitty for building this thing, and I needed aluminum rims. So what I did is I took the aluminum rims from my Wraith and put them on this vehicle. I was these are the old SEX 10 tires anyways off my old car. You can see they're got the plastic rims on it, and the tires are pretty much wore out. These are just your ripsaws, nothing fancy about them, but they're kind of, they do the job for the initial kit. But I can't stress enough how much the Mickey Thompsons work so much better. So we got rid of those. The kit comes with the Trepidor tires, which are these ones, and as nice as they are, they're 1.9. I never had any rims to support it anyway, so I scrapped that, and I'm not crazy about those tires anyways. They're okay. Off my Wraith, I have my TSL Super Swampers, which are these ones. I was just kind of like bored of the tires. I got a good season out of them. I wanted something a little more for the tread, for the mud and the dirt and going through the streams and stuff like that. So I opted for myself for the mud slingers. I like them. We're going to see how well they perform in the months to come. I went for the Pitbull foams for these tires. They had them on sale at the hobby shop, and it's a 2-stage foam, and it's supposed to help keep the memory of the foam better and contour to the rocks better and all that jazz. But what I find the best thing about it is when they're installed, the tires, even though this car weighs about 8 or 9 pounds, the tire doesn't go flat. It keeps its shape. That's a big plus for me. I liked them so much I bought another set of two packs of 2, and I have them sitting as spares. For the front and rear axles, which is the cream of the crop for axles, I went for the Vanquish Curry. Curry axles they've got the banjo plate here sitting up on a bit of an angle, and I have some stage 1 titanium links going to it with a heavy duty servo horn. And this little guy right here is exactly what was rubbing on the tire of my 1.9 Mickey Thompsons. As you can see from the rear axle, it is also the Vanquish Curry axle, and it has to match the front. And everything you see here is aluminum. They even provide you with the front and back with the little looks like almost like a carbon fiber skid plate or something on it to protect the aluminum, which I thought was a nice touch. The gears in the front and the back are stainless steel. They're the hardened steel ones, other than the ones that come with the kit, which is kind of like a sintered metal almost. They don't seem very good. The drive axles in the back are the stock ones, because you don't need any fancy ones. And since I put hardened gears inside, I did a little bit differently on this vehicle than most people would. What I did is I used the stock gear ratio in the back, but in the front it's got 1 gear less. The reason for that is when a car goes up a hill, when it goes up and it tries to get over the top, the back wheels are prone to spin because it's trying to push the car over the hill. When you change the gear ratio on the front by 1 tooth, instead of it trying to push the car over the hill, the front tires will actually spin, and it's trying to pull the car over the hill. So you have the fronts working with you as well as the back, rather than the fronts not doing anything. Now the con to that is you need to change the pinion of your motor. It comes with a 20-tooth pinion, I believe. I ended up putting an 18-tooth into it, so it would compensate for the gear ratio difference in the front and the back. And by lowering the gear, it'll make it a little bit slower, but it gives it more torque, which also means no overheating of your motor. I went for the Vanquish drive axles in the front. You can see the red right here. You can see the red collar is signaling that that's Vanquish. What that does is these are special, and they're made for the Curry shock system, and I believe it's supposed to give you something like 8% more steering radius. You can make a tighter turn with it. I just bought them because everything else was Vanquish. These will make that Vanquish too. And all the steering knuckles and everything, it's all like aluminum. Lastly, I'd just like to discuss the linkage. I put titanium linkage all the way around, as you can see here. I used MIP drive axles because I've had great success with them in the past, and they never break. They just go and go and go. You can see the little skid plates on here for the axles. And here is the, I believe it's the June Falk, I guess it would be like a transmission chassis plate. It's like a skid plate. But what I found with it is when you install this particular plate, not only does it protect your transmission, it actually will pick the frame actually sags a little bit right in the center when you have a lot of weight on it. When I screwed this in, the frame actually came up and stiffened a little bit, and it gives it great rigidity. I'm quite pleased with it, actually. There it is, all in working condition, ready to go out and hit the trails. If you're wondering how the lights are going to look, that's how they're going to look. For the back, they just stay on all the time. I was going to put the nav light system into this vehicle, but the Axial nav light system, there's something wrong with it, because when the module that comes with it, when you plug all your wires in, the front signals would flash in unison with the back brakes. They would pulsate, and I couldn't get them to stop pulsating. I took it down to the hobby shop to see what was up with that. Even the guy there that's had 10 years experience, he was kind of baffled with it. He figured maybe we needed another module. So we ordered in another module and plugged it all in, and the same problem was there. He couldn't help me. I really don't know what the problem is, so I went with the stock lighting system, which just stays on all the time, which you see here. And some lights are better than no lights. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and on our next outing we'll show some in-trail action. See ya.